One of the highlights from my time spent with the cadets this summer was the day that we got to meet the 417 Squadron Search and Rescue Team and found out what it takes to be a real-life hero.
Definitely interesting to see the search and rescue, because I was definitely considering becoming that when I got older. So it was nice to ask them questions and to see what it's really like and what they do, to really consider if that's what I want to do. And it was amazing just to watch it in general.
I thought it was pretty amazing. Like, this is the second time I've seen it and still wow.
Our job here mostly in Cold Lake for 417 Squadron is to support the jet flying that goes on here, the jet training, and jet training. So there's the Hawk aircraft, which is a two-seater where they do the initial training right before you start flying the F-18s, like before you start flying the fighter aircraft. So we support them, and also the F-18 while they're flying will be around. And we're meant to be rapid response in case they have some kind of issue where they have to get out of the aircraft and parachute to the ground, because a lot of the area that we train in here north of Cold Lake is very remote. There's no roads, it's swampy, full of trees, and if you're not rescued soon, you could be in a lot of trouble, and you just wouldn't be rescued soon if you didn't have helicopters here. So I'm the aircraft captain, so I'm the person that in the end makes the decisions about, how we conduct the mission to make sure we get the aircraft and crew and everybody safely back home. So I'm the one who signs for it basically, and is in charge, if you want to say that. But everybody in the crew is important, so they all contribute their input to help things successfully be accomplished. Well, in the air crew, like in the helicopter, we have 4 people on board. So there's 2 pilots in the front, the aircraft captain and the co-pilot. And then in the back we've got a flight engineer he's a maintenance kind of position in one way. They're there when we're on the ground. They're the person who makes sure the aircraft is ready for the next flight. But during the flight, they're the one who runs the cabin of the aircraft to make sure things are safe back there. And then they run the hoist, which is like a winch that we can use to lower down our search and rescue technician to get him on scene. And the search and rescue technician, we call them SARTECs, that's the 4th person in the crew. And they're like our paramedic. It's probably the easiest way to compare them, although they do have a higher level of training than a paramedic. But they're the ones who we would lower down into the scene, and they would respond medically. But they're also, it's not just medical that they're training, it's also survival, because Canada is a very vast country with lots of diverse places where you could end up being in trouble, and you have to be able to survive out there. And these guys train also to jump out of aircraft and parachute into the situation, and especially when they do that, like with a helicopter, most of the time they have a ride home. We'll bring them, hoist them back up, bring them home. But when you jump out, you don't really know when your ride home is coming, and so they have to be able to survive, not only keep themselves alive, but keep the person alive. So, be able to build improvised shelter, be able to forage for food, be able to, not only medically sustain them, but just physically sustain the casualty until we can get them out of there. Just recently we had a call from the Rescue Coordination Center. It's actually in Trenton, Ontario, but they look after a very big region that goes all the way from the mountains out to the Quebec, I think, just this border of Quebec. And we got a call from them because there was I think he was a trapper, but he was out fishing, and he didn't come back when he was supposed to, and they found his boat overturned, and it was in Flin Flon, Manitoba, and we went there to help search for him. It could be any sorts of thing. Our main mandate for search and rescue is for aircraft crashes, but we get involved in people that are missing, boats that don't come back when they're supposed to. Just imagine yourself in a bad situation, and that's the kind of thing we can get. And for the SARTECs, they tend to come in fairly qualified. They just have to get to know this machine and where things are basically in the cabin, and what kind of, because we do most we call them primary search and rescue units, like that's their main job. We're a secondary search and rescue unit, like mostly, like I said, we're here for the jets, but we will also do civilian calls. But the primary units, they have 2 SARTECs on board, and so with us only operating with 1 SARTEC, they have to think a little bit differently in ways, because they can't rely on somebody else to help them if they have various issues on the ground, or just it is difficult even just moving somebody by yourself versus when you got 2 people, so they have to adapt to that a little bit as well. It can be a satisfying job if you can get out there and help somebody out of a difficult situation.
when ATR returns, the cadets are honored with their very own spot in the Cold Lake Air Force Museum.